Yes, it is Britcar trophy time. We should see, hopefully, 31 cars in our next race. Thanks, Ian. We'll take you through the grid for this one. This will be a 50-minute race with a mandatory pit stop. The pit stop window, just checking my notes. One stop of 140 seconds mandatory, taken between 20 minutes into the race and 20 minutes before the end. So that's only a 10-minute pit window in this 50-minute race. That's going to be a bit frantic. Let's have a look at the grid then. Qualifying took place this morning. Pole position is the number 24 SVG Motorsport Ginetta G55. Ian Astley will start that car. Neil Wallace takes over. Alongside them, Datum Motorsports Ginetta number 47 Maurizio Sciglio is their driver, will drive solo. Second row, number 33, that's the Mazda RX-8 of Johnny McGregor and Josh Tomlinson. Mac G Racing, Johnny Mac will start. Alongside Assetto Motorsports number 42, Ginetta. That car will fly in the early stages because Jade Edwards is taking the start, sharing with Mike West. Row 3, number 40, the Intersport Racing BMW. Brian Branson, we've seen him out earlier on, will start. Another familiar name, Jasvir Sapra takes over. Alongside them is the number 23 Formevo Clark Racing Porsche, Simon Clark. He drives alone, running in Class 2. That's a change of class for that car, isn't it? One moment. Let's make a note of that. So a change of class for number 23. Row 4, number 2, the Assetto Motorsport Ginetta, started by Jim Edwards. Edwards Senior, Julian Wantling will take over, alongside number treble 1, Axel van Nederveen in the other Datum Motorsport Ginetta. Row 5, number 19, Thorny Motorsport BMW M3, started by Callum Noble. Callum drives solo, in fact, alongside the Derek McMahon Racing Alfa Romeo Giulietta. Barry McMahon starts, Paul Plant takes over. Row 6 is the 2 Dragon Sports cars. That's the first of the Renault Clios. Car 66 will be started by Jack Meakin. Reese Lloyd will take over. We saw him out in his TCR Astra yesterday. Alongside them is the number 92 car. I believe that car is going to be started by Jack Hewlett, and Travis Coyne will take over. Row 7, the TSR Volkswagen Golf. Anthony Rogers starts, showing Mark Jones. Alongside them is Team Brits, their BMW M240i, the car that won the title last season. Paul Fullick starts, Tyrone Matherin will take over. On row 8, it's number 88 of High Row Motorsports, Renault Clio. Ollie Meadows starts, Andy Tucker takes over. Alongside them, number 37, which is the BPC Motorsport, the Burntwood Performance Centre Ford Fiesta ST180. Josh Poulin starts, Jack Watts will take over. Row 9 is 118 of Abbey Motorsport, that's the Nissan 370Z. Mark Skeets will start. He relays David May. Alongside them, number 14, Spires Motorsport. It's the name Spires, it's got to be a Renault Clio, and that's driven by Craig Guest. On row 10 of the grid, number 22, Sim Dynamics. That is a Renault Clio. Simon Mason starts, Chris Bialan will take over. Alongside the number 22 will be the number 4, Datum Motorsport Ginetta of Marco Anastasi. On row 11, number 89, the second High Row Motorsport car, Ben Jenkins will start, sharing with James Harrison, experienced Clio racer. Alongside number 83, the Major Motorsports Honda, that's the Cook family in their Honda Civic Type R. Edward Cook starts, sharing with Steve. Row 12, number 64, the JW Bird Volkswagen Scirocco of Paul Goodlad, he drives on his own. Alongside number 183, the CH Racing with Motion Sport Honda Civic, that's William Puttergill, driving solo in that car. Row 13, number 52, Westbourne Motorsport. Just one Clio for them this year. It's the car Charlie Hand did so well in last year. Sarah Franklin starts, the motorsport lawyer, and she shares with Mike Bowman. Alongside the number 13 Raceway car, that's the first of the Ginetta G40s. Brendan Hafner driving solo in that car. The second TSR Golf is next, number 77, started by Rob Alec. Finn Jones will take over. And they are alongside the number 45, the other Major Motorsport Honda Civic. That's driven by Arthur McMahon. He drives solo. Row 15, SVG Motorsports number 62, Ginetta G40 of Alex Turnbull. And the second Spires Motorsports Clio alongside them. Jonathan Christie Rundle will start that car. Darren Gerhardt will take over. Meanwhile, there's one car that is starting from the pit lane. The Rob Boston run Lotus Elise of Will Stacey unfortunately failed a scrutineering check after qualifying, and that car will have to start from the pit lane. I think I can see another car over in pit lane there on the left of the shot as well. And I've got a feeling that might be the Team Brit BMW. The cars are making their way up to the grid. Great variety we've got. So we've got Ginettas, BMWs, Porsches, Golfs, plenty of Clios. They'll go well, the front wheel drive Clios in these slippy conditions. And I believe Armani and Waterhouse is down on the grid, ready to talk to one or two of the drivers.
Right, everybody, hello, welcome down to the grid. Those of you asking, yes, we have found Scott now. He'll be pleased to know. Let's keep going for a little walk before we get run over. Let's move over here as well. Dangerous place. Come a little bit further down the grid than we normally do. We've got Mr. Guest in the car. Let's have a quick chat with him in the Clio. You didn't know I was going to do this, did you? I'm really sorry for just jumping in.
No pressure.
No pressure at all.
No swearing, right?
No swearing, no pressure. How are you feeling ahead of this one? 15-minute race, of course, mandatory pit stop. Feeling good, feeling ready?
Yeah, feeling good. It's a bit of a baptism of fire, but so far so good. Ask me again after the race, and it could be either a big cuddle for you or a completely different.
Or a black eye for me. Is that a cuddle or a black eye? There we go.
It's either a kiss or a cuddle. Take your pick.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll see how it goes after the race. So best of luck for it as well. Thanks for talking to it. There we go. If you see me later this afternoon with a black eye, we know why it hasn't gone his way. Let's move down the grid a little bit further, see who else we can have a quick chat to. A lot of Ginettas. If you just have a quick look on the camera, look, making their way, of course, to the front end of the grid. Britcar Trophy Race, 15-minute race. We have another one coming up a little bit later too. Mr. Cook here as well. Let's see if we can just open the door and have a quick word. I'm sure you won't mind. You don't mind me coming to have a quick chat, do you? How's it going? It's good to see you again, by the way. Are you happy with how qualifying went?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lock-up going into the chicane. Ended up just going straight into that, but bar that, it was all good.
What's the expectation from this race, and where are we going to finish?
Just want to be obviously finishing the first few laps and then see if we can get up the order a bit in Class 2 and see where we get to.
Now, strategy, of course, there could be safety car. Who knows what's going to happen? If it comes falls within the pit window and it's earlier, you're straight in the pits.
Depends how early. If it's just sort of middle of the pit stint, we'll probably pit. Otherwise, probably stay out.
Stay out. There we go. Good man. Best of luck. Thanks for talking to us. Not too long to go now. Let's keep going down. I don't know if I've shut that properly. It's not often we pop down here, but let's keep going as well. Number 13, one of the Ginettas as well. I wonder if we can have a quick chat. The car in front. There we go. Here we go. Puttergill, just make sure everything's okay. Is everything all right, guys? Are we everything okay with the car?
Yeah, I believe
yeah,
so, mate.
I think so. It was this morning, just got possibly a bit of a power issue, but we'll see how we get along.
Best of luck. We've got to go. We've been hooted off now, so time for us to get out of here. Dave, we're going to have to hand back to you. It's almost time to get racing.
Thanks very much indeed, Ian. Oh yes, I'm looking forward to this one. Potentially over 30 cars out there if they've all made it out after qualifying. The last couple of cars just being brought into line at the back. As we say, the Rob Boston Racing Lotus Elise of Will Stacey will be starting from the pit lane. Failed a post-qualifying check, so had its practice times disallowed, unfortunately. And there is another car down there as well, as I said. I think it's Team Brit over there on there. If we can just see the roof there. We can just see the roof of the Lotus as well. Be a rolling start, probably just one lap behind the pace car, the safety car this time, because these drivers did qualify in wet conditions. So they're used to the track conditions today. They qualified this morning, as we saw. One car that was on the entry list but is missing, sadly, is one that would certainly be a contender for victory, the Race Lab BMW of Lee Frost and Lucky Carer. We've seen them take a few wins in both British Endurance and Britcar Trophy in the past So Ian Astley and the white Ginetta and the yellow machine of 47 Maurizio Siglio lead them off as they are RX8. There's Jazz Sapper and Brian Bransom's BMW. It's Brian Bransom going first. Busy day, busy weekend for them. A clutch of Clios. The Scirocco of Paul Goodlad. A couple of Honda Civics. The Ginetta G40 down there at the back of the grid. That's the 62 car. There he is, Alex Turnbull. I couldn't see the 41 Clio there, so we'll have to wait to see if John Christie Rundle and Darren Gerhardt have made it out. Pick up as the race gets underway if anybody else is missing. Good to see Dragon Sport back out. They didn't have a lot of luck with their TCR Opel Astra yesterday, but Rhys Lloyd and Jack Meakin plus Jack Hewlett and Travis Coyne looking for success today. Don't forget the pit window opens when the clock shows 30 minutes of the race to go and closes with 20 minutes of the race to go. It's going to be a mad scramble for the pits here at Silverstone. We're in touch with race control as well, so I can bring you any penalty info if there are any. Pick your cars to follow. Who's going to be our first Britcar Trophy category winner of the season? It's Team Brit who won the title last year. They will try to do so again. As you say, looks like their car is starting from the pit lane. Charlie Hand, the runner-up last year in his Renault Clio, made the big step up into British Endurance here yesterday, racing the RNR Performance Ferrari. Oh, there's the 41 Clio, it is there. Just a bit out of position as they moved off the grid. Jonathan Christie Rundle at the wheel. Start to form up then, the two Ginettas at the front. RX8 and Ginetta, a very modified Mazda RX8 on the second row. I suspect the 42 car is going to be one to watch in the early laps. The green and white Ginetta, Jade Edwards on board, former British touring car racer. Brian Bransom in the grey BMW will be one to watch as well. Ginetta certainly the numerically dominant mark here, along with the Renault Clios. Oh yes, I'm looking forward to this race. 50 minutes of action here on the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, the first race of the Britcar Trophy season. We start to stack up behind the safety car, which pulls into pit lane. Ready to unleash the power. Ian Astley on pole position. Maurizio Siglio alongside him. They go up towards the red lights. Let's get it on with the Britcar Trophy. Revs are up. And we're underway. Good start by Johnny McGregor in the RX8, trying to make a move up the inside. So is Brian Bransom, the grey BMW, and it is Ian Astley who takes the lead from pole position in the white SVG Motorsport Ginetta. Jade Edwards quickly moving around the outside there in the green and white number 42. The Assetto Motorsport car could get second place here if she plays her cards right into Maggots. Yes, she's going through on the inside, I think. Maurizio Siglio tries to hold their side by side. They touch. Jade Edwards, I think, has just held second place. Another Ginetta going around the side. Siglio spins. Another car goes over the gravel. Oh, great splashdown there for one of the Ginettas. That's Jim Edwards in the number 2. Goodness me. I thought it was going to take the front bodywork off that car, but he somehow kept it in one piece. Mud goes flying everywhere. The RX8 was involved. Siglio facing the wrong way in the background. I think Johnny McGregor has kept it going in the Mazda. Yeah, he's in the midfield, so we'll check out the race order as they come towards club. But Maurizio Siglio, one of the favourites for this race, is stone last as they head round the opening lap. There's the Ginetta, a bit of damage to the back of the car where he was spun out. 2 into 1 didn't go there, sadly, into Beckett's. Your leader is Ian Astley ahead of Jade Edwards. Brian Bransom in the BMW is up into third position. Then we've got the Porsche of Simon Clark, number 23. As they start to sort themselves out down the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight. Ginetta, BMW, another BMW coming through. That's Callum Noble in the pink and black car. Something flew off there. Don't know if that was off Brian Bransom's BMW. Next in the order, Axel van Nederveen. Then we've got the first of the Clios through to the infield loop for the first time. Ian Astley sharing with Neil Wallace. Ian, I think, the quicker of the two drivers, so he'll probably stay in the car till towards the end of the pit window. But Jade Edwards starting to give chase, very quick in her Renault Clio Cup days and in BTCC as well. Down the Wellington straight, the two Ginettas starting to eke out a slight gap here. Down into the left-hander at Brooklands for the first time. They've gone slightly clear of Brian Bransom in Jasvir Sapra's BMW in third place, the grey M3. Very quick car indeed, that one. Fourth place is Callum Noble's M3, then Simon Clark in the Porsche. Axel van Nederveen, the Dutchman, is sixth in his Ginetta. That's the Dayton Motorsport car. Seventh is the first of the Clios, it looks like the 66, and Jim Edwards behind in the number 2 Ginetta as well. Yes, it is Jack Meakin in car 66 who leads the Clio class. Simon Clark sliding the Porsche there as he goes through. He's really sliding the Porsche as he goes through Copse Corner. Axel van Nederveen could capitalise and get through here. There's Edwards behind in his Ginetta after ploughing over the mud and the grass earlier on. Through Beckett's for the second time. Ian Astley leads by 3/4 of a second ahead of Jade Edwards. There's the Clio. Next through is Johnny McGregor, was delayed in that incident. Look at the Clio three-wheeling its way through there. Jack Meakin sharing with the boss of Dragon Sport, Rhys Lloyd, the Welshman. Behind them, the other Dragon Sport car driven by number 92. I believe it's Jack Hewlett sharing that car with Travis Coyne. We saw on the info sheet I was sent the starting drives prior to start time as Johnny McGregor goes through there. As Jake Hewlett, not Jack Hewlett, sorry, Jake Hewlett was originally meant to drive in a separate car, but now sharing with Travis Coyne. Here come your leaders. It's still Ian Astley from Jade Edwards. Brian Branson a bit sideways, got a wheel on the curb there. It's still very wet down at this end of the circuit. It's Noble. Porsche's dropped back. Axel van Nederveen has got through there. Then it's Simon Clark, Jim Edwards, Johnny McGregor, and then the leading Clios, the Dragon Sport cars. Starting to settle into their rhythm then after the opening exchanges. Astley leads the way from Jade Edwards in second. Two Ginettas starting to pull away. Class 2 being led by Clark in the Porsche. Lloyd and Meakin lead the Clios. The other class is the Ginetta G40 Cup. Just two entries there. It's Brendan Hafner, number 13, leading that. Through to complete the second lap then. The two Ginetta, the two Ginettas, the G55 Academy car of Ian Astley and Neil Wallace. Ian Astley out in front. Jade Edwards sharing with Mike West in the G56 GT8. Externally similar cars. Over the line they go. Oh, the Fiesta's off. That's Josh Poulin getting out of his car. Now that, I think, is at the loop. I think he's gone straight on there. That's the BPC Motorsport car, Burntwood Performance Centre. That hasn't lasted long, unfortunately. Here's a battle further back between one of the Golfs, number 7 of Anthony Rogers, and the number 4 Ginetta, I think that was, of Marco Anastasi. That's for 11th place. So Astley leads by 1.5 seconds. He's just done the fastest lap, 2:29.342. Here's Johnny Mack on the fight back. We normally see Johnny McGregor, of course, in action in the Tyrannus, the Ultima-based sports car. We might see that. It's rumoured in the Prototype Cup later this year. Callum Noble under fire from Axel van Nederveen. Surprisingly, Jim Edwards, other than that bit of grass he's picked up, has escaped without major damage to his Ginetta after that ploughing match at Beckett's. We saw McGregor go off there as well. He's picked up a bit of grass as well. Here's the other car involved. That's Siglio's Ginetta. Maurizio Siglio trying to fight his way back up the order. Where is he up to? Let's have a look down the tiny screen. He's 20th. Won't gain 7 places on that last lap. He's having a go at the Team Brit BMW with Paul Fullick at the wheel. 4th in Class 2, the purple BMW at the moment. They started from the pit lane. He's made some good moves at the order in 18th place. A little bit of understeer there from the Ginetta. One of the Clios running wide. It's the number 89, I think, of Ben Jenkins. Renault Clio Cup Generation 4 cars being used in the Clio category in this race. So a fairly steady start, despite that bit of mayhem going into Beckett's for the first time. There's too many cars in too small a space. There's the Alfa Romeo. That went fairly strongly in qualifying, but it's dropped back. Barry Mann, number 57, the former Alfa Romeo Championship winner. He was in a 1.56 on that occasion. Here's a battle further forward. This is for 4th place between Noble and Van Nederveen. Simon Clark's Porsche's dropped back a few spots in the lead battle. The BMW sliding around there, Callum Noble. Sponsored by Silverstone Shooting Centre. I'm hoping the BMW goes like a bullet from a gun here, down the straight. Charging ahead of the Dutchman Axel van Nederveen, who's won here at Silverstone in the past in Britcar Trophy. Jim Edwards behind, sharing with Julian Wantling. BMW sideways again. This is not a drifting competition, Callum Noble. Looks spectacular, but it won't help your lap times. Ian Astley with the fastest lap of the race, 2:29.236. Leads by 2.7 seconds over Jade Edwards now. The battle of the Ginettas at the front. They're 1.5 seconds clear in turn of Brian Branson. Jim Edwards starting to move up to attack now Axel van Nederveen. Into the Hanger Straights. Johnny McGregor coming up behind them. He's recovered well after his brief off at Beckett's early on, avoiding the chaos ahead of him. There's Simon Clark in the Porsche. He still leads Class 2, the Porsche 997 Carrera S for Form Evo Clark Racing. He drives solo, so we won't see a driver change that car at the pit stop. What about Maurizio Siglio? He's up to 17th now, following in the wheel tracks of Paul Fullick in the Team Brit BMW. Team Brit, of course, doing so much wonderful work to help those with physical and mental handicaps to overcome their problems through motor racing. They've changed so many lives over the years. Even now competing in British GT with Aaron Morgan and Bobby Trundley. Maybe they'll make it to Le Mans someday. There's the number 64, Paul Goodlad in the VW Scirocco. Where in the order is he at the moment? A little further down in 22nd place, he's got Mark Skeets, the ex-BMW racer, in his Nissan 370Z behind him. He breezes past on the Hanger Straights. This is the battle for 2nd place, meanwhile, into Brooklands. Brian Branson closing up on the Ginetta of Jade Edwards. Coming up to 10 minutes of the race gone. Still another 10 minutes until the pit window opens. Branson a little wide over the curb there. Edwards continuing to chase. We'll see what the gap is this time through to our race leader Ian Astley. 2 seconds is the gap. New fastest lap for Brian Branson. 2:28.613. Is he going to go through here into second at Copse? Side by side with Jade Edwards. Jade is a tough customer. It's going to be a good battle between these two, and Jade Edwards hangs on. Branson will try again using the grunt of Jasvir Sapra's BMW. Down to Beckett's. And Edwards holds the place. Good driving by Jade Edwards. First rose to prominence in Mazda MX-5s a few years ago before moving to Clios and subsequently up the ladder to touring cars. Branson tries again as they go into Stowe. They're still side by side. Great fight between these two. Edwards runs a little wide. We've seen this line work coming out of Stowe towards the Vale. It works again for Jade Edwards. Branson to the inside now into Club. He's trying every which way he can to get past the Ginetta for second place. These three well clear now of their opposition. They're 13 seconds up on Axel van Nederveen, who's now fourth in the white Ginetta. We haven't forgotten about Will Stacey either. There's the Lotus coming through from the back. Where's he up to now, Will Stacey? He's up to 11th, having started from the pit lane. Good run through the field. He's got Maurizio Cilio catching him as well in the yellow Ginetta after he went off on the first lap. Callum Noble sideways over the curb there again, coming out of club. And Brian Bransom tries again. Ooh, that was close. Coming through Village. The Ginetta still hanging on. They said Jade Edwards was a tough customer to get past, and she's proving so. Out towards the Wellington straight once again for the fifth time. Bransom has the fastest lap last time through. Nederveen is fourth. Jim Edwards may well have got through for fifth as well. I thought I saw there as we saw the shot of Club Corner. But it's the closest fight on track at the moment. Second place. Coming up on the first of the back markers very shortly as well. Just one retirement so far, that was the Fiesta, sadly, of Poulin and Watts. 62 of Alex Turnbull in the Ginetta G40 goes a lap down. Brian Bransom round the outside, he's taken second place. Good move, Brian Bransom. Jade Edwards fights back, they're going to go either side of the Ginetta G40. Oh, that was close. Brave driving in these wet conditions. Bransom keeps his foot in and he's got second position. Splits the Ginettas, and now he's going to try and go after Ian Astley for the lead. Jade Edwards on his bumper as they come up into the final element of Beckett. She's going to try and drive all the way around the outside. The BMW gets sideways and Jade Edwards goes through. This is a great fight for second place. You know, I just see a few raindrops on that camera lens. Don't tell me the wipers are going. I think it's starting to rain again here at Silverstone. Another 6.5 minutes till the pit window opens. Bransom back around the outside, retakes second. Edwards goes for the outside line, off Stowe Corner into the Vale, switches back again. This is terrific stuff. All this is allowing Ian Astley to get away at the front. Down in the club, Bransom holds the place. This is fantastic. Further back, who's in fourth place? Axel van Nederveen on his own now. Here's Will Stacey fighting it up with the number 4 of Marco Anastasi. This is for 9th position. Anastasi, the third of the Dayton Motorsport cars. Cilio and van Nederveen are the others. Still Brian Bransom holds off Jade Edwards for second place. Class 2 is still led by Clark's Porsche in 8th place. Clio's led by Jack Meakin in 11th. He's just lost out to Will Stacey. The G40 Cup category, well, that'll be being led by Brendan Hafner. He's 28th. Lively stuff in our first Britcar Trophy race of the season. Wipers going, a bit more rain falling here at Silverstone. Let's hope we're not going to have another cloud burst. Starting to close slowly, I think, on Ian Astley here. Just over 2 seconds in it last time. So let's see what the gap is this time. I think that gap's come down. Brian Bransom pushing hard here in that BMW. Let's see as they go over the line. Yes, it's less than a second now, 0.93 to be precise. 2:28.613, still the fastest lap for Bransom. He's just on the best third sector of the whole race, 26.546. So Brian Bransom is catching race leader Ian Astley. That big BMW has taken a couple of wins in Britcar Trophy in the past. Ginetta's looking a little more steady in the turns though. And here comes Bransom. He's having a look there, coming out of Beckett. He won't be close enough there. Maybe in a couple of corners' time. Needs to get his foot down quickly here. Going. Oh, the RX-8's out. Damage to the front end. Has that hit the barrier? Couldn't quite work out where that was. We only saw that for a second. Here comes Bransom up the outside. Meanwhile, he's got him on the brakes. Brilliant. Round the outside into Stowe Corner on the brakes. That's a very rare move. Superb from Brian Bransom, but Ian Astley is fighting back in his tremendous Britcar Trophy race. There's a Clio being lapped as well. And Brian Bransom has taken the lead with the most unlikely of moves round the outside into Stowe Corner. You never see overtakes there. Jade Edwards briefly stuck behind one of the Renault Clios there. I think that's the 41 car of Jonathan Christie-Rundle. Meanwhile, Marco Anastasi has now caught Simon Clark in the Porsche. That's for 8th overall. Clark still leading his class. There's Callum Noble. He's dropped back to 6th now behind Jim Edwards, and behind him Will Stacey up to 7th. There's Edwards. So Callum Noble's dropped back quite a considerable way. There's the BMW, and there's Will Stacey in the Lotus from the back of the field, up to 7th. Had 2 wins at Donington last year. There's Axel van Nederveen, he's 4th. 3 minutes till the pit window opens. We can hand down to Ian Waterhouse in pit lane. We can talk to the man whose car, in the hands of Brian Bransom, has just taken the lead. He's talking to Jazz Sapra.
Right, everybody, welcome down to the garages here. It's been a real thrilling start, hasn't it? A brilliant battle between Brian Bransom there and Jade Edwards, and ironically, they're next to each other here in the garages too. I've got Jazz Sapra with me, a teammate for Brian as well. He's doing pretty well there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing well. Starting from 5th. Got up there. He likes the wet anyway, he loves the wet. So.
Is he? I mean, do you think it might be starting to dry out a little bit, or is it too much water?
I haven't said anything on the radio yet.
Is he not?
No.
Okay.
So, obviously,
now, if a safety car suddenly comes out for any reason, Jazz, certainly in the early stages of the pit window, is the instruction for him to come straight in?
Yeah.
So you want to win this? You go.
We'll try our best to up in the regard. If there's any tyres left when I get in it.
Yeah, there might be.
No, I don't think there will be.
Jazz, thanks for talking to us. And there you go, that is the Jade Edwards side as well. Exciting stuff, isn't it? This is really boiling up. Not too far now from the pit window open. It's going to get very busy down here. Dave, back to you.
Thanks very much, Ian. And one car to watch coming through is, of course, Will Stacey in the Lotus. He's up to 6th now. He's got ahead of Callum Noble's BMW. He just did the quickest second sector of the whole race, 1:15.582 last lap around. Fastest lap is with Brian Bransom. He's done a 2:27.602, the wet weather specialist. There's the Clio class leader, number 66, Jack Meakin, sharing with the Welshman Rhys Lloyd. You can tell that Rhys Lloyd normally races an Opel Astra because he's got the old Vauxhall Opel Works colours on the car. They're currently running, looking down the timing screen, in 11th overall. Second of the Clios is the number 92 of Hewlett and Coyne. And third, it is the Ollie Meadows Andy Tucker car. Pit window shortly opening. Is it going to be everybody in at first opportunity? We see them space out over the 10-minute pit window. It's not a long window to make your stops, as the Ginettas almost together there. Jade Edwards now up with Ian Astley, 3 wide from on the back markers. That was one of the Golfs, and Jade Edwards sideways. Oh, they've touched, and round goes Ian Astley. They just slid out there. The Golf goes off in avoidance, so does one of the Ginettas. Oh, Ian Astley, what a shame, left facing the wrong way. Just no grip there as they tried to go side by side. They slid into each other from what I could see there. Doing well to avoid them, the 77. That was Rob Alec in the Golf. And the Ginetta of Brendan Hafner, the class leader, the G40, getting involved too. So Ian Astley gets going again. That's Jade Edwards up to 2nd. Axel van Nederveen is through to 3rd. Jim Edwards now 4th. Astley across the line is in 5th position. The pit window is open. Who's going to be our first pit caller then? Big shame for Ian Astley there. Just a lack of grip, I think. They were 3 wide with the Golf that they were lapping going into Brooklands. They stayed side by side into Luffield. Just as they got offline, they hit a wet patch and went spinning. I think Jade Edwards just slid sideways and clipped Ian Astley. I don't think any of that was intentional. So Brian Bransom now your clear leader as a result of that by over 8 seconds. Probably more than that at the end of this lap. nobody into the pits just yet for the single 140-second mandatory stop. There's Ian Astley, he's got Will Stacey's Lotus behind him now. That car's flown up the order from the pit lane. Impressive aero on that machine, certainly. Rob Boston racing car. Rob Boston Racing, of course, the reigning British Endurance Championship title holders with the Mercedes GT3. Jim Edwards moves Brendan Hafner out of his way there at club. And here comes Will Stacey. Is he going to get through there, the little Lotus? Not quite. The tail of Ian Astley recovering from his spin. We can hand down to Ian Waterhouse in the pits. I think he's ready to receive the first of the stoppers.
Yeah, welcome back to the pit lane, everybody. Now we've been to a couple of garages and you see so many people, swaves of people around helping out. It's just Dave and Mark though, isn't it, for you guys? That's it.
It is today, mate. Yeah, we're just me and Mark. That's how we have it, you know.
It's going all right though, isn't it? We think Mark might have had a bit of a spin, a bit of an off.
I believe so. For the first time in 12 months, that car's actually running more than 2 laps and breaking down. So I think we've solved the problem, but it must have been an issue on track because Mark won't go backwards normally.
Whatever happens to it, you've won then, because it's made it more than 2 laps now.
If it finishes the race, it's a bonus. That's as far as we're happy with that. But we'll move up. You know, I think we've find all the problems, dealt with it, and we'll get there. The weather's not helped matters either. So.
No, but this is the best of most. Well, best of luck, and just proof, everybody. Of course, there's some of the teams, loads of people, loads of information, loads of tables. This is it. This is it for Dave. It's empty. Talking to Dave, back to you.
Well, brace yourself, Ian, because I think it's about to be everybody in a few moments' time. The first car to come in is Ian Astley to hand over to Neil Wallace. He might want the car checked over after that spin as well. None of the other front runners have come in on this lap, though. We've got one other car in, the Golf of Rob Ellick. He'll hand over to Finn Jones, the number 77 Golf. Just 2 retirements so far. Johnny Mack in the Mack G Racing Mazda RX-8. Josh Tomlinson sadly not going to get to take over there, and the Ford Fiesta ST we saw out of the race too. Through goes one of the Honda Civics there. That's Will Puttergill battling with Sarah Franklin, locally based racer from Northampton, in the Renault Clio, the ex-Charlie Hand car. Good to have Sarah back this year in her Clio. The Motorsport lawyer. The fight continues, 26 minutes of the race to go. Any more pit callers? Yes, Maurizio Cilio has come in the 47 car. There's will make an early stop after his spin at the start of the race. In comes the car of Jake Hewlett and Travis Coyne as well. The Dragon Sport Clio has made its pit call. So a few early takers. I imagine this time around we'll see the majority of the field come in. Still Brian Branson with the lead by 8 3/4 seconds ahead of this car of Jade Edwards. Axel van Nederveen is now 3rd, Jim Edwards 4th, and Will Stacey up to 5th because Ian Astley has brought the Ginetta in to hand over to Neil Wallace. Is Brian Branson going to come in this time? He comes out of Brooklands. Gasmir Sapra will be waiting to take over. Is Brian going to go on and do another lap? We know he loves the wet conditions. Yep, the race leader is going to stay out. 5 more minutes to make his pit call. Moving over towards the pit wall there, possibly to try and read a signal from the crew whether he's got to come in this time or not. Waiting to see if anybody else is going to dive for the pits this time, or are they going to leave it another lap? Lead gap is up to 11 seconds. We can hand down to Ian Waterhouse in the pits. He's found one of our Renault Clio teams. He's talking to Andy Tucker.
Right, everybody, here we go, down in the pit lane now, starting to get busy, a lot of pit lane action, pit lane, the windows open. Andy Tucker's here with me, about to go out. Andy, how's the first bit of the race gone?
Yeah, it's gone really well, currently in P3, new car for myself and for Ollie, so yeah, going mega so far. Hopefully we can snag P1 though, that's what I want.
That's what you want. As I say, I've seen you in with another team before, of course, new horizons for you this season.
Yeah, so I'm driving without any form of adaptations now on the car. It's just a completely bog standard race car, and I'm loving it. It gives me a chance to really prove what we can actually do with a disability, and yeah, I'm loving it, mate. Really
Andy,
loving it.
you're always such a nice bloke. So it's such a pleasure to see you and to talk to you. Thanks so much. Best of luck out there. Take care. Dave, back to you.
Great to see Andy Tucker of Team Brits there, driving with the Hyro Motorsport team today, sharing with Ollie Meadows. Ollie will be coming in shortly to hand over. We saw Sarah Franklin in the pits there to hand over to co-driver Mike Bowman. Jim Edwards has come in as well. Julian Wantling will take over. Will Stacey, meanwhile, has just done the fastest lap of the race, 2:27.560 in the little Lotus. Paul Fullick of Team Brit has come in. Ty Matherin will take over that car. There's a battle between Marco Anastasi and Callum Noble. That's for 6th place on the timing screen. Anyway, we'll have to wait to see what cycles through after all the pit stops. Neil Wallace has rejoined, so has Silio, so has Travis Coyne. Now, here comes our leader towards Luffield for the 11th time. Is he going to come in this time? We haven't seen many of the leaders stop just yet, except for Jim Edwards and the car that spun earlier on. Ryan Branson, I suspect, will stay out for another lap. Yes, he is. It's just going to be enough time, I think, for him to do another lap and get in before the pit window closes, because the lap takes just under 2.5 minutes, and that's pretty much how much time there was left as he crossed the line. Jade Edwards is in to hand over to Mike West. See a few more front runners come in, I suspect, this time. Here comes the Lotus. In goes Will Stacey into the pit lane. They come in so quickly there, and then they slam the brakes on and get down to the pit lane speed limits. Axel van Nederveen is in as well. They're pouring in now, as I suspected. Julian Wantling has rejoined in the number 2 car. Further down, the 45 Honda Civic of McMahon is in. There's T. Matherin being strapped into the Team Brit BMW. The Alfa Romeo is in. Paul Plant taking over there from Barry McMahon. Will Puttergill's Honda is in. Darren Gerhardt's taking over the number 41 Clio. The Porsche comes in, the number 23 of Simon Clark. Alex Turnbull, number 62, brings his Ginetta in. Marco Anastasi has come in as well. Will Stacey, Axel van Nederveen, we know about. Jade Edwards as well. Callum Noble did not stop that time through the BMW, so it could be BMW's 1 and 2 on the road at the moment. Who else has yet to stop? Jack Meekins come in to hand over to Reece Lloyd. The number 7 Golf of Anthony Rogers, he'll hand over to Mark Jones. Everybody in, pretty much. There's one of the cars that has got going again. That's the number 2 Ginetta. That's Julian Wantling at the wheel. Now, a bit of front-end damage after it went over the grass earlier on lap 1. There's the number 7 Golf we spot on our inset camera. It's the TSR team. Been running Golfs in this series for a few years. Team Brit BMW back on track. It's Team Matherin at the wheel now. Here's a battle between a pair of Clios. The number 41, which is now being driven by Darren Gerhardt, has got the number 62, I think there's 52 rather behind it. No, 92, my apologies there, that's Travis Coyne. 52, of course, is the orange car of Franklin and Bowman. So Branson leads and has yet to stop. Callum Noble hasn't stopped, and the only other car that hasn't come in, I think, is the Stephen Edward Cook Honda Civic. That's going to have to come in this time around because the pit window has just closed. Now, has Brian Branson made it in time? It's not shown as having come in on the timing screen. There's Neil Wallace. No, I think Brian Bransom's gone through again. I think the race leader's missed the pit window. He didn't come in that time through, Brian Bransom. He's still out there. So is Callum Noble. I've got a feeling they've missed the pit window. Right, the window closed during that lap, so they were past the board. Now, whether we'll have to wait and see the decision from race control there as to what happens. But I'm wondering if the two BMWs, there is Brian Branson, I'm wondering if he's missed the pit window. Definitely coming this time. Okay, so he is coming in this time, Brian Branson, to hand over to Jazz Sapra. But the pit window does close with 20 minutes of the race to go, and you can see there's just under 18 minutes to go, so whether he's left this stop too late, we'll have to wait to see what the officials decide. And again he doesn't come in. Brian Branson keeps going. I was told it was coming in that time. Well, he's definitely missed the pit window now. Unless it hasn't shown up on the timing screen that it has been in while we were watching the midfield. But it would surely trigger the timing beam coming into the pit lane and we'd get the notification. Meantime, here's a battle between a pair of Honda Civics, the 45 car, that's Arthur McMahon, and the 183 William Puttergill, raced in various events including the Honda Civic Cup over the last couple of years. The only other cars that have not come in are the Cook Honda and the Callum Noble BMW. Noble has now come in. Yes, the Hondas come in as well. Edward Cook handing over to Steve. Okay, so everybody has now stopped except for the race leader. Wait to see what transpires here. Now, the big winner after the stops, I can tell you, showing in third on the timing screen, is the car that started from the pit lane, Will Stacey, in the Lotus. Let's have a look at the rest of the order behind him. He's just over 5 seconds clear of Axel van Nederveen's Ginetta. Next is Mike West in the number 42. He's just under 3 seconds back, the car started by Jade Edwards. Then it's Julian Wanting in car number 2, some 15.3 seconds down on them. And then we've got Marco Anastasi in the number 4 Dayton Motorsport Ginetta ahead of Maurizio Siglio. But Brian Branson still hasn't come in. We've got a spun car at Brooklands. That's one of the Clios. That's one of the Spires Motorsport Clios, I think. Which one is it? It's the number 41, I think, which is Darren Gerhardt's. Now Brian Branson does come in. But surely too late. So it looks like this is going to give the lead to Will Stacey, but we'll wait and see where the BMW feeds back in. Simon Clark in the Porsche. In comes Brian Branson. Our pit cam down there with the squad. Out jumps Brian. Jasper Sapra ready to go. Motorsport racing team running the car this weekend. We've seen them run their BMW Z4 in the British Endurance Championship last year. The likes of Kevin Clark. Strapped Jasvir Sapra in, racing BMWs for several seasons now. Shame that Lucky Kira and Lee Frost aren't here, because they always have a friendly rivalry on track with them. Making sure everything is plugged in. Oh, a spin up. That's the number 83. That's the Cook family Honda. Steve Cook had just come out of the pits. Spin at Beckett's. That's the second time we've seen a Honda Civic spin at Beckett's today. Well, this one thankfully didn't get collected. And he's back in the race. Making sure that the BMW serves the minimum pit stop time, 140 seconds. There's Callum Noble on his out lap. We'll wait and see where he slots back in. But it looks as though Will Stacey in the Lotus is going to take the lead once everything has cycled through after the pit stops. We'll have to wait and see where Jasvir Sapra rejoins. We'll try and find the Lotus on track. We can hand down to the pits meanwhile to talk to the man who's just got out of the number 40 BMW, Brian Branson.
Well, there we go. The race leader came into the pits, Brian Branson. Brian, that was epic out there, wasn't it? In fact, you're having a good battle with Jade Edwards just over there.
Yeah, that was good. First few laps was a bit scary. Well, first lap especially. I don't know what happened, over there.
Yeah, there was a spin right in front.
Yeah, there was a couple of close moments getting through that. But once I got settled in and got used to the conditions and stuff, I started to obviously gain more confidence and got some heat in the tyres and started to reel the Ginettas in, and it was good. It's all about, in this sort of weather, it's just all about consistency, and that's as simple as that.
I think a few of us were expecting you to come in a few laps earlier. Was it strategy to stay out as late as possible?
Yeah, I don't know anything. I just get told when to come in. They obviously don't really talk to me when I'm going round.
I'll talk to you, Brian. Well done. Now it's time for Jazz to take it.
I just get told what to do,
Well done. If you stay with us as well, I wonder if I'm just going to see if I can quickly grab Jade a second. Oh, Jade will be happy to talk to us. Jade, I just wanted to be happy to very quickly talk to us. Ironically, Brian Branson just there. What a battle you two had out there.
Yeah, it was pretty entertaining. I think there was a difference in speed between corners and straights. So I said on the radio, I said this is going to be a bit of a battle over a lap. But the car's so much faster than ours, we just had no competition there. But it was fun to hold him up for a couple of laps.
It certainly was, wasn't it? Of course, you've got another race a little bit later as well. What have you learned from this stint that you can take into later this afternoon?
I've learned that not everyone treats lap one as an endurance race, which is fairly entertaining. But
sounds about right.
Yeah, it was fun. This is the first time I've ever done Britcar, and it's not my car. It's the Yoda's car that races with Assetto all the time, and I've just been brought in for a weekend. So as much a job to do as much as looking after the car. So we'll be starting obviously where we finish this race. Hopefully it's near the front and we can just have another enjoyable battle with everyone and see where we end up.
Super stuff. Best of luck for this one and later as well. Dave, back to you.
Just over 10 minutes of this race still to go then. A couple of cars receiving stop-go penalties. Car number 62, Alex Turnbull, a 2-second stop-go penalty. Car 70, which is Team Brit, Paul Fullick and Ty Matherin, they've got an 8-second stop-go penalty. And number 14, Craig Guest in his Clio, a 7-second stop-go penalty, presumably for pit stop offences. So they'll have to come in and serve those. Meanwhile, back out on track is Brian Branson. And I was just about to say that Will Stacey is likely to take the lead. The Lotus has come back into the pits. Now, has that car got a penalty? Or is that a problem for Will Stacey? We'll have to get Ian to find out for us. But Will Stacey is back in the pits for a second time. in the Lotus. We haven't had notification if that car has a penalty. The 89 car, the Harrison and Jenkins Clio, driven at the moment by James Harrison, that's got a stop-go penalty of 4 seconds. These are presumably for short pit stops. Yeah, Stacey back in. He's going back out again. We'll have to find out what that was all about. So that means that Jasvir Sapra will still be in front in the BMW. Will Stacey, we'll have to see where he slots back in now because he's made an extra pit call. Axel van Nederveen is next, then it's Mike West in the 42, started by the driver we just heard from, Jade Edwards. Julian Wantling in the blue Ginetta is 5th, so this is a battle for position here. The 3 Ginettas together, 5th, 6th and 7th. Maurizio Siglio makes a move through for 6th. We saw a glimpse of a spinning Clio there going into Stowe. One of the Spires cars, one of theirs has already had a spin. So there is 5th place Wantling, 6th Siglio, 7th is Anastasi. They run nose to tail through Club. There's the Lotus. So that's could be down to 8th place now. We see it in the background there at the exit of Club. This is the time where we just need to let the timing screen settle down. It looks as though Jasvir Sapra is still in the lead. 7.5 minutes of the race to go, the grey BMW. It's very busy here at Village. There's Will Stacey in the Lotus. The Rob Boston racing car having just made a second pit call. Just looking to see if there's any more notifications of penalties. No, just the 4 we've given you. Oh. Car number 19, who's that? Callum Noble's BMW. 206 seconds stop-go penalty. 206 seconds, that's a huge penalty for the number 19 BMW. That car currently running in 9th place. I wonder if that could be for missing the pit window. We'll have to try and get confirmation from race control on that one. We can hand down to Ian for a bit more info from the pits.
Oh, on the car. Right, everybody, welcome down to the pit lane. As you can see here, we're in the penalty area right now. We call it a sin bin. That's what we decided to call it with the marshals. And actually, if you look on the board, this is how we monitor it. This is how the marshals do it. They write on the door, cross it off when they served it. So far, car 62, 70, 89, 14, they've all served, well, these two just come in now, literally 14 just left serve the penalty. So they've all now served their penalties. So we should be racing right to the flag now. Dave, back to you.
Yeah, a few stop-go penalties. We mentioned 206 seconds for Callum Noble. The 83 car of Stephen Edward Cook has got a 210-second stop-go penalty. That's for missing the pit window. The race leader's got one as well. 300-second stop-go penalty for car number 40. 300 seconds. That's 5 minutes. A 5-minute penalty for the race leader for missing the pit window. I thought the BMW had come in late, so 3 cars have missed the pit window. They have got big penalties. The biggest going to Sapper and Bransom. That's got 300 seconds to serve. Brian Bransom missed the pit window by a considerable margin, and that is going to put the kibosh on any chance of this car winning the race. He's coming in. 5 minutes of the race to go, so, well, with a 300-second penalty, they may as well just stop and finish the race in the pit lane. Oh dear. So who's that going to give the lead to? We saw the Lotus come into the pits for a second time. So it's Axel van Nederveen who's going to inherit the lead in the Ginetta number 111. He's just gone over the line. Now, second place on the timing is showing as Mike West in the number 42 car. Oh, a spin for the number 4. Marco Anastasi. Will Stacey just avoids him. A quick spin there. He rejoins. He's only lost 1 place. Good recovery. So it's going to be Van Nederveen. There he is. He's currently some 16.8 seconds clear of Mike West. Silio has got past Julian Wantling. They're fighting for third. Then Stacey and Anastasi. We saw them fighting further back. That's going to be for 5th position. Callum Noble's come back in. But big penalties for missing the pit window. We called it correctly. Big penalties for Callum Noble, for the Cook family, and most importantly for Sapra and Branson. A 300-second penalty. It does seem quite draconian, but it's all in the rule book. The penalties for missing the pit window. And so Axel van Nederveen looks good for victory. He loves it here at Silverstone. Can Mike West catch him in the Assetto Motorsport Ginetta started by pro driver Jade Edwards? It's only just over 3 minutes to go and the gap was nearly 17 seconds, so it looks unlikely. Let's have a look at the class leaders while we have a moment. Now that's settled down. Then Class 2 is still led by the Porsche of Simon Clark. The Clios are led by Rhys Lloyd, taken over from Jack Meakin. That'll make up for his disappointment yesterday when his Astra had to retire with overheating in the 3-hour race. Oh, and a Honda spinning at Beckett. We've seen this a few times. This time it's Arthur McMahon. The 41 Clio of Darren Gerhardt just avoids him. The G40 Ginetta class is led by Brendan Hafner. There's our Clio leader. They're running in 11th place overall. Rhys Lloyd, the Welshman. Another Clio goes off. That's the 52 car of Mike Bowman. Took over from Sarah Franklin. The earlier Clios are pretty good rally cars, and that one proving its off-road ability. Very cautious rejoin there, just checking his mirror, making sure the track is clear. Away he goes. Bowman car, where was he running? 23rd place. Still just a couple of retirements in this race. Early on we lost Johnny McGregor. Looks like he hit the tyre wall. And after only a couple of laps, the Ford Fiesta ST of Pullen and Watts pulled out of the race. So Van Nederveen leads. The gap is nearly 18 seconds now, going into the Hanger Straight. There he is. Maurizio Silio is third in his Ginetta. Looks like we're going to have a Ginetta lockout at the podium here. Maybe one more lap to go. Wait to see if the checkered flag comes out this time. It may well do. Oh, that's the second place car. That's Mike West. That's at Beckett's, I think, ploughing through the grass, just as Jim Edwards did on the opening lap in his teammate's car. Oh dear, disaster for Assetto Motorsports. Gets it back on, but that's handed second place on a plate to Maurizio Sciglio. And look who's up behind them. Will Stacey. What a recovery after a second pit call. There's the Lotus. I was just saying that we could have a Ginetta lockout of the podium. I'd rather put the curse on them there, because it looks like we're going to get the Lotus on the podium. Julian Wantling next in the order. It's Anastasi and Neil Wallace. Neil Wallace, the slightly slower of the pairing, sharing with Ian Astley. We remember them, they were leading early on until a tangle with the 42 Cup. There goes Axel van Nederveen. There's only 15 seconds on the clock, so it looks like it is going to be checkered flag. This time, well, it all looked fully set for the grey BMW. But they missed the pit window, and it's going to be the Dayton Motorsport Ginetta of Axel van Nederveen that begins the Britcar Trophy season with a victory. Here he comes, out of Woodcote, up towards the line. There is the checkered flag. Axel van Nederveen takes the win. Just had a bit more advice from race control. Bring you in a second. We can explain the penalties a little more. Who's going to be second? It looks like, is it going to be the Lotus? Has the Lotus got through there? Looks like it has. My goodness, Will Stacey Absolutely flying in the Lotus Elise for Rob Boston Racing. He comes over in second. He takes Maurizio Siglio with a couple of corners to go. And fourth place will go to Julian Wantling and Jim Edwards in their Ginetta. There's the blue Ginetta. Anastasi will take fifth despite a late spin. Marco Anastasi there he is. And sixth place after that off at Beckett's, Mike West and Jade Edwards. Well, an incredible, unpredictable race there. And to clarify, our thanks to race control, the penalty for missing the pit window is 1 second per second you're outside the window. So, in other words, because Brian Branson missed the pit window by fully 5 minutes, that's why they got a 5-minute penalty. Wait to see where that BMW is classified, because it effectively spent the last 5 minutes of the race sat in the pit lane. Tumbling down the order. Here comes Simon Clark in the Porsche. He's going to win Class 2. It was Neil Wallace and Ian Astley who finished 7th. They led early on, the pole sitters, for this race. It'll be the other way round for race 2. The driver that went second in this race will start race 2. Porsche 997 Carrera comes in to take 8th overall and win the class. 9th place and second in Class 2 will be the Mark Jones and Anthony Rogers Golf, number 7. And in 10th place should be our Clio class winners, Jack Meakin and Reese Lloyd. There's the Golf. 9th place, there's the Clio. The Ginetta G40 class, incidentally, was won by Brendan Hafner, 23rd overall. The last car to take the checkered flag should be Mike Bowman in the car started by Sarah Franklin. There it is, and well, there's Van Nederveen. Don't think he saw the checkered flag first time round. He's gone round again. A lap of honour, we'll call it. There's the number 13 car, Brendan Hafner. We didn't see much of him during that race. The Raceway Ginetta. He's coming in to win his category, 23rd overall. For the record, Jasvir Sapra and Brian Branson, 2 laps down, 22nd after that penalty. Big penalties for Callum Noble as well. 206 seconds outside the pit window, and the number 83 Honda 210 seconds. Well, an entertaining and unpredictable season opener for the Britcar Trophy. They'll do it all again later on with another 50-minute race. Here's your provisional result then. Axel van Nederveen takes the first win of the season, 19 laps completed in the Ginetta G56. What a recovery by Will Stacey. He started from the pit lane, came through into the top 5, had to make a second pit visit and then roared his way back up to second, albeit 28.9 seconds down on Axel van Nederveen. Third place for Maurizio Stiglio, Van Nederveen's teammates. Lotus preventing a lockout of Ginetta. Look at all those Ginettas at the top. 6 of the top 7 places. Wantling and Edwards 4th. Unlucky for Mike West, spinning down to 6th there behind Marco Anastasi on the last lap. Wallace and Astley, the pole sitters, in 7th place. Class 2 goes to Simon Clark's Porsche ahead of the Jones Rogers Golf. The Clio class won by Reese Lloyd and Jack Meakin. Good result for the Nissan 370Z of David May and Mark Skeets. That had a lot of reliability problems last year, but a good finish there in 11th overall. Then the Coyne and Hewlett Clio, and the rest of them. We can hand down to Ian Waterhouse now in Parc Ferme to celebrate with some of the drivers.
Right, everybody, welcome down here to Parc Ferme. William Stacey in 2nd place. Let's grab him. We are going to have to just quickly move out of the way. Your winner, Axel, hasn't turned up just yet, but we managed to grab William. Let's get your helmet off first, because boy, oh boy, that was an eventful race, wasn't it? Of course, Brian Branson, Jazz Sapra, oh dear, 300-second penalty. Oh, cost him the race, didn't it? To the benefit of these guys, though. William, managed to get your helmet off now. That was very eventful, wasn't it? What was it like behind the wheel?
Yeah, it was quite intense, quite slippery.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I was so confused about what actually happened with the race, because because we started at the back of the pit lane.
Yeah, came from the pit lane.
I think we were flying, and then we came and got the pit stop all right. And I saw a board, only me, nobody else around me, saying stop, go, penalty. But so I came in and I waited here, and then there were I wasn't meant to be called in, so I went back out. So I thought I'd be nowhere. But somehow it happened that I got a few cars at the end, and then ended up coming in P2. I thought I'd be sent down there, but it was good fun though. I got a bit confused about what's going on.
So where you got your team, are they able to? You do have talk back in the car.
Yeah, we have a headset on. Rob Boston we run with. They've got the headset and everything. But I'm not too sure. Sometimes I'll say it and maybe the connection's not great, so they'll miss something.
Better move out of the way before we get run over. I was going to say, for a man who's just finished second in a 50-minute race, you look very confused, but congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know what happened there.
Go celebrate with the team, as we almost had a bit of a bump here. I wonder if we could go round and see if we can talk to Axel. We've got a little bit of time, haven't we? Here he comes. Let's let him get out the car here. A bit of a tight fit here, isn't it? We could have maybe moved them over a little bit more, but very happy man indeed. Congratulations. How do you feel?
I don't know what happened.
Well, you wonder, right? Brian Branson's Jazz Sapra got a 300-second penalty for missing the pit window. So you're the winner. Why is everybody's so confused down here? It's unbelievable.
Well, including me.
Well, it was very eventful out there, though, wasn't it? Look, get your helmet off, go celebrate. Congratulations, anyway. I'll let everybody know what is going to come out. In fact, we can probably get the camera around and cover the podium celebrations as well very shortly. Still a lot coming up for you today, though, as well. We do have the classic touring cars, the Prix 83 and Prix 66 race to bring you this afternoon. We've got another 50-minute Britcar trophy race as well, and of course, don't forget that 50-minute Britcar Prototype Cup race as well. Let's just put the camera and enjoy some of the celebrations down here.
Okay, so thanks Ian, and well done to our drivers there in what was a rather confusing end, as Will Stacey elicited that. He thought he was going to get a stop-go penalty, but no, I don't think it was a penalty for the Lotus. He got fastest lap as well, 2:26.053. No surprise, really, the way he recovered through the field there to take second on the last lap. Just to let you know that during the lunch break, which is coming up next, we will give you the chance to see the Prix 66 and Prix 83 touring car race from yesterday. That a few technical problems prevented us from seeing the end of that one, but we'll bring it to you during the lunch break. And that's the category that's coming up after lunch, scheduled for 2:25 p.m. The Orange Aero Prix 83 touring cars and the Pultec Prix 66 touring cars. Then we've got our second Britcar trophy race, 50 minutes. The starting drivers will swap round. So the second driver from the first race is the first driver in the second race. Meanwhile, here are our podium finishers then. Maurizio Cilio takes third in the Ginetta. Second place for young Will Stacey. And here's Axel van Nederveen, the man who didn't even know he'd won until he was told that the BMW had been given a penalty. There they are on the podium. Well, we've had a Venezuelan winner, now we've got a Netherlands winner, Axel van Nederveen. Gary James conducting the interviews up there. Well, we're heading into our lunch break now here at Silverstone. So grab yourself some lunch and we'll be back in just under an hour's time we're scheduled for. We'll let you know if we are starting any earlier with our remaining classic touring car race before we go back into Britcar Trophy. And then we've got the Britcar Prototype Cup. I have been sent the pit stop times for that race and the starting drivers. The standard pit stop time is 140 seconds in the Prototype Cup. because the University of Wolverhampton car is being driven by 2 pro drivers, as Ian explained earlier, they have an extra 10 seconds to serve. And there are pit stop penalties given if you finish in the top 3 of one of the earlier sprint races. If you win a sprint race, you get an extra 10 seconds. Second is an extra 7 seconds, and third an extra 5 seconds. So that adds up. Scott Mittel and Charles Hall had 2 second places between them. Rodolfo Gonzalez, of course, had a win, so that's 10 seconds extra. A win and a third for the University of Wolverhampton, so they've got the longest pit stop of all. And Ben Stone got a 3rd place for TGM, so everybody's got a different length of pit stop to serve. The shortest one is Chris Bridle and Will Stowell, because they didn't get a podium. Right, so we're going to head off for a spot of lunch, and we'll allow you to do so as well. Thanks to everybody here at Silverstone so far today. Thank you to our camera teams. They'll take a well-earned lunch break. And we'll be back underway in about 50 minutes' time. We are scheduled with our next race here on BARC TV at Silverstone. In the meantime, we will shortly bring you the Prix 66 and Prix 83 touring car race from yesterday.
Second place,